Live Health Q&A. I'm Dr. Amanda. I'm here to do a live chat with you. You guys ask me your questions, drop them in the comment box, and I will answer them for you. So if you are new here, if you're not familiar, I'm a naturopathic doctor. I provide health tips and just general information on this channel here. So last night we were talking a little bit about thyroid health. We had some good questions come in. Previous nights we were talking a little bit about diarrhea, constipation. So anything really goes. If there's any health concerns that you have that you wanted me to address, or if there's anything you were curious about, feel free to ask me in the comments and then I will answer them for you. Okay, so I do have a whiteboard here. I know it's probably backwards because I'm on my front camera today. But let's talk a little bit about, why don't we talk about leaky gut syndrome? I think that's a pretty popular one. People have questions about leaky gut. So leaky gut syndrome, and then I'll just write here Q&A. So just ask me your questions about that one, but I'll talk a little bit about that. So leaky gut syndrome. So basically in our gut, we have our cells, our gut cells, and they should be nice and close together. So if this is one cell, these are our gut cells. They should be close together, so there's nothing that can go from our gut cells, and then this would be our bloodstream. So we don't want anything going from our gut cells flowing into our bloodstream. That really shouldn't be there. So what can happen if you have a leaky gut, these can then become further apart, and then things are kind of passing through and then going into the blood. So that's kind of what's happening in leaky gut syndrome. The junctions between the cells are not tight, and then we are left with some particles, undigested food potentially going into our bloodstream, and then that can cause symptoms like brain fog, fatigue, a lot of skin issues like eczema, acne, hives and rashes. That can be due to what's happening with these food particles flowing into our bloodstream, and that's kind of what leaky gut syndrome looks like. It looks like that. Whereas if the gut cells are nice and tight and close together, we're not going to have that issue there. So that's kind of what leaky gut is. It's also known as like intestinal permeability. So basically the cells are not nice and tight together, and then that can cause an issue. So, okay, so I'm seeing some people are just joining on. So hi and welcome. I'm Dr. Amanda. I am a naturopathic doctor, and this is Let's Talk Health Live Q&A. So if you are new here, feel free to drop any questions in the chat and I will answer them for you. So right now I'm talking a little bit about leaky gut syndrome, but if there's something else that you were curious about, feel free to ask questions. I do get a lot of questions on this channel about gut health, but also other things. We've talked about diet, lifestyle, anything really goes. So this is our Q&A. So drop your questions in the chat. And then of course, if you are new to the channel, be sure to subscribe, like the video, turn on notifications. I go live every night. So thanks for dropping by tonight, but you can also, stop by tomorrow and ask some questions. Okay. So how do we get leaky gut syndrome? What can cause leaky gut syndrome? There's so many different causes, and it's honestly not a true medical diagnosis. It's kind of just something where we see it in conjunction with maybe some other things going on. So for sure, stress can lead to leaky gut. That's one issue. If we have an imbalance, so the microbiome imbalance. I know you probably can't read that, but so microbiome imbalance. So basically, if you have an overgrowth of bad bacteria, maybe you got food poisoning, or maybe you don't have enough of your good gut bacteria, that can lead to leaky gut syndrome. And then if we have leaky gut syndrome, it's harder for your gut to repair itself. So what else can cause leaky gut syndrome? A parasite infection, a yeast infection, that can definitely play a role in there. If you have a food sensitivity or a food intolerance and you're eating it, like let's say you have a lactose intolerance and then you're constantly still eating dairy, that can kind of cause leaky gut because it's something that your body can't break down. It causes a little bit of inflammation, and then that can lead to a little leaky gut. Okay, so if anybody's just joining us, hi and welcome. I'm Dr. Amanda. This is Let's Talk Health Live. So it's our live health Q&A. So ask me your questions in the chat. Feel free to ask any health concerns that you have, and I will address them as best as I can. And then be sure to subscribe and like and join our health community here. All right, so some people are dropping in the chat saying hi. Someone, okay, just wanted to say thank you for the advice the other day about the importance of having a varied diet. Well, you're so welcome. So I'm glad that that advice was helpful for you. So yes, a varied diet. We were talking about this in the previous chat. A variety of foods in your diet is so beneficial for your microbiome. So even if you just change it up slightly, it can be very beneficial. Should you eat bread or crackers for a leaky gut to soak it up? No, not so. We're not thinking it's like leaky in that sense that it needs bread or crackers to soak it up. What we actually want to do is work on these cells and work on things that can help with improving these cells. So for example, maybe you've heard of L-glutamine. L-glutamine is an amino acid. It's really great for soothing the gut and irritation. And it can help with supporting the integrity of the gut. So L-glutamine, it's amino acid, it comes in a powder form. You could do that. Another couple of herbs that are really good for leaky gut are licorice root. So I'll write that down here. Aloe is another good one, and then marshmallow. Not the Candies marshmallow, but like marshmallow root. So these herbs, what they can do is help with soothing and healing some inflammation that's going on in the gut and help with repairing that tight junction between the gut. So what you asked about, yeah, bread or crackers. So I wouldn't say you need to do something like that, but I would say definitely looking at some herbs, some anti-inflammatory herbs as well. Things like turmeric, ginger can be really beneficial too. Yeah. All right, so what is a good food to eat? So if we're specifically talking about leaky gut, in terms of leaky gut foods, let me know, or if you're just asking in general, some good foods. So if you're asking about leaky gut, some good foods to eat would be things like bone broth. Really good for getting a lot of nutrients, very nourishing. It gives you like a lot of vitamins and minerals, and that can help with repairing gut and reducing any sort of irritation that's going on. Another really good one would be some berries or apples. They have good antioxidants. Apples have a good source of pectin, which is a good fiber. So that's something that would be really beneficial for if you had leaky gut, a food that you would want to have. And then you also want to consume things that are high in healthy fats. So things like avocado and fish would be good too. So that's what I would say would be good sources of foods to eat to help out with that. Okay, so if anybody's just joining us, hi, welcome. This is Let's Talk Health Live. I'm Dr. Amanda. If you are new here, be sure to subscribe and like. I do appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much when you ask questions and when you interact. It means a lot. So thank you for the likes and the subscribes. We are talking about leaky gut syndrome right now, but if you have another health question, whatever it might be, drop your question in the comments and then I will answer your question for you. And as I mentioned before, it could be anything that really goes in terms of your health concerns. Okay. So there's a question about somebody's had a high fever, 100 plus for 2 days. Should I continue to trust my immune system or time for a checkup? Yeah, so You know, if it's been going on for 2+ days, if you're experiencing other symptoms of illness, it's always good to just go and get things checked up just to see how you're doing, and then see where things go from there. Like, is there potentially an infection, like a bacterial infection, for example, like pneumonia or something going on? Your body is going to need some support for fighting that off. Or if you have a really bad stomach infection, something like that, you may want to get it checked out just to see, because it could do you more harm than good by just trying to let your body fight it off. So good question, but I would say go get it checked out. Yeah. Of course, as I mentioned before, this is not medical advice, just health information here. So, okay. What else do we got? So that's leaky gut. Yeah. So those are the herbs that I would say would be helpful for leaky gut. Let me know in the comments, is there anybody that has been told that they have leaky gut or thinks that they have leaky gut based on like your symptoms, and what did you do? And what kind of things are you curious and knowing about? So we talked a little bit about foods, some herbs. We talked about L-glutamine, really good for leaky gut. Now, the other thing is, when we're trying to solve leaky gut, we want to figure out what's causing it. So doing something like a stool test can be really beneficial. So in terms of a stool test, this will look for if you have bacteria overgrowth, if you have yeast overgrowth, if you have an imbalance in your good gut bacteria, if you have potentially digestive concerns. Those kind of things are going to help out with figuring out what's going on, because then that could be leading to your leaky gut. So if you have too much bad bacteria or not enough good bacteria, maybe you need to take some probiotics, and then that can directly help your leaky gut. So I hope that helps. Okay. There's a question, is it related to seasonal allergies? So I think we're talking about leaky gut. It can be. So your gut microbiome plays such a huge role in your overall health, especially your immune health. About 80% of our immune system actually relies in our gut. So if you're getting things like allergies or like I mentioned, skin concerns, poor immune system, getting sick often, that can definitely be due to your gut health. And sometimes even just by fixing what's going on in your gut or giving your gut support, that could help with things like allergies. It might not completely get rid of them, but it can help with minimizing the way that your body's responding to those allergens. So in that case, in terms of like allergies, probiotics are so great. Vitamin D is really good, and these are two things that are really good for your immune system. So yeah, I would definitely say it can be related. So, all right. Okay, so let's see what else. I think we answered all those questions. So far, we got some comments coming in. Thank you guys for the likes and the subscribes. I do appreciate it. If you are just jumping on, this is Let's Talk Health Live. And we are talking about leaky gut syndrome, but feel free to ask any other health questions, and I will answer them for you. I took allergy shots for years and didn't help much. Yeah, so sometimes that can be true, and really we're not really getting to like what is the cause of the allergies. And as I was just kind of talking about, your gut health plays a huge role in that. So definitely, if you are suffering from allergies, having a look at your gut health, working on your gut health, probiotics, vitamin D, digestive support, maybe one of these herbs to support like reducing inflammation, licorice, aloe, marshmallow root. These are all really great herbs to support it. So yeah, thanks for the comment. Thanks for talking about it. Okay, so if anybody, I'm just seeing some new people joining us now. So hi and welcome. This is Let's Talk Health. I'm Dr. Amanda. I'm a naturopathic doctor here. I provide holistic tips. So you guys ask me your questions, put them in the chat box, and I will answer them for you. And thank you for the likes and the subscribes and joining our health community. Around colder days, I get bloated easier. That is a really great point. So if we're looking at in terms of more like Eastern medicine compared to our traditional Western medicine, they look at when things are like seasons, like so when it's cold out, we shouldn't be having foods and things that are cold in nature. So for example, like ice cream or even raw vegetables and things like smoothies, that can lead to bloating. We want to work on things that are going to help with supporting our digestion, things that are more warming, and that can help with reducing bloating. So maybe trying some foods that are more cooked, like soups and stews, which are naturally what we kind of go to in the colder days. But then just also keeping in mind, like how much dairy, how much yogurt are you having? Are you having things like ice cream? Are you having a lot of raw vegetables and salads and smoothies? And switching them to more warmer foods. Okay, good question. Thank you for that one. Is leaky gut really that prominent in the general population? Yeah, so like as I was kind of talking about it before, leaky gut is not a true medical term. It's basically a symptom of, or a syndrome of things going on due to something else in the body. So I mentioned maybe it is a microbiome imbalance where you don't have enough good bacteria. Maybe it's an overgrowth of bad bacteria. Maybe it's stress, maybe a food intolerance. So is it prominent? I would say like the symptoms of leaky gut can be prominent where we're having things like brain fog, fatigue, bowel issues, skin issues, but it's not a true medical diagnosis, so we don't know like how many people have it. But I would say a good number of people would associate themselves with having it. So, good question. Okay, there's a comment. My friend drinks a shot of olive oil to get his day started. Is this okay or too rough for the digestive system? That's a good question. Olive oil is great. It's a great source of healthy fats. It can be very beneficial for getting in those good nutrients. Is it too rough for the digestive system? For some people it might be, because if you think about it, it's pure fat and your body needs to digest that. So you need to have good stomach acid and good bile production in order to digest fats. So some people might not be able to digest olive oil that well, especially just like first thing in the morning on an empty stomach. So I would say it depends on the person. Maybe trying it out and seeing if you're noticing that your stools look more like floating and looser, or if they're more yellow in color, then it might be a bit too much for your friend there. But okay, you're so welcome. Okay, so I just thank you everybody so far for that's joined us here. This is Let's Talk Health Live. So I'm Dr. Amanda. I'm a naturopathic doctor. Thank you for the likes and the subscribes, guys. I appreciate it so much. I do this every night. So it's our live health Q&A where you guys ask me questions and you put it in the comments and then I answer them for you. So be sure to turn on your notifications to get notified when I go live. Okay. So there's somebody that mentioned that my wife's been wanting me to drink a tablespoon of baking soda in water every day. You think it would have any benefits? So what I'm thinking here is potentially your wife is saying this, maybe she heard about how baking soda is more on the alkaline side. So do you have acid reflux? Is that why it was recommended to help with heartburn, acid reflux potentially? Because that's kind of what baking soda sometimes do. So I don't really, it's not something that I ever, recommend saying, hey, go and drink baking soda every day. I don't think it's really solving anything. I think there's more to it, whatever is going on, why you were maybe recommended or why she suggested to take the baking soda. So it's not something I usually recommend. There is like a way of testing stomach acid with using baking soda where you actually have a video on this and you try baking soda and then you see how long it takes you to burp after, and it can tell you a little bit about how your body is producing stomach acid, because actually a lot of times if you have heartburn or acid reflux, you might not actually have enough stomach acid production. You're not producing enough of those enzymes to break down your food, and then food is kind of hanging around in the stomach and pressing up on the esophagus and causing reflux. So I think there's more to solving acid reflux than that. Okay, I'll get back to the question about maple syrup in a second. Just gonna, because you commented that you have a hiatal hernia with acid reflux at night. Yeah, so in that case, I would say I wouldn't recommend the baking soda. I actually have an acid reflux series that will be coming out. I'm just finishing that up and I'll release all the videos, so you can check that one out when I release that. But basically what you want to do is more so focusing on foods that are soothing and herbs that are soothing. So these ones here that I wrote down for leaky gut, licorice, aloe, and marshmallow, can be beneficial for acid reflux. Now, if you have a hiatal hernia, that's tough. So you may need to see if there's a practitioner in your area that can actually work on reducing the hiatal hernia. Some osteopathic, some chiropractic practitioners can help out with that. So that's what I would suggest. Okay, so thank you for your question, guys. Thanks for the likes and subscribes. Appreciate it so much. Let's get to this question about maple syrup versus honey, settling the debate. Okay, so in terms of benefits about maple syrup, it's nice that it is a sweetener that comes from trees. So it doesn't have any like processing to it in terms of sometimes like sugarcane does. Whereas honey is also a natural, we can call it sweetener, where you're getting that from the bees that are, pollinating. So what would be better, maple syrup versus honey? That is a good question. So I would say in terms of, if we're looking at people that have IBS or SIBO, which is small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, or they have a more sensitive digestive system, maple syrup can sometimes be better because it's not as high in fructose like honey is. And then so with honey, sometimes it can cause digestive upset. On the other hand, honey has a lot of antibacterial, if it's like really good natural honey, it has more of those like antibacterial effects to it, immune system effects. So I would say they're both good. And I would say in terms of you're just like looking for a general sweetener, pick what you like best. But I would say if you're somebody that has more digestive concerns, maybe choose maple syrup. And then if you're somebody that wants more benefits, like more of the immune benefits, then choosing honey. In terms of like the way it impacts blood sugar, I'd say they're both pretty sweet, so they both impact it like the same way. Okay. All right. Are you contagious when you have a fever or when you start having symptoms? That's a good question. So you could be contagious when you have a fever, when you have symptoms. You could even be contagious even sometimes before, if you've already caught that virus and you haven't shown the symptoms yet. So good question. It's generally best to, if you are like noticing you have a fever or starting to have symptoms, to avoid other people so you don't get them sick. All right. Okay. What else do we got here? Yeah, leaky gut. We're talking about leaky gut, scalp psoriasis, leaky gut help ASAP. Okay, so I was talking a little bit about leaky gut in this video. So yeah, so you might want to go back and just see some of the things I talked about. These were some of the top herbs that I mentioned: licorice root, aloe, and marshmallow root. And then I also mentioned probiotics. So especially if you're having psoriasis, probiotics can be really beneficial for that. And then vitamin D. So probiotics, vitamin D, and some of these herbs to help with soothing leaky gut. I would recommend that. I do have a video, actually, go check it out. I have a video on my channel that I think it's called like How to Heal Leaky Gut. It's one of my videos there. So I kind of break you through different steps of what you can do. So the person that asked about the scalp psoriasis, leaky gut help, go check that one out. Okay. All right, I'm gonna keep this live open for a few more minutes and you guys ask me your questions. Thank you so much so far for anybody that's interacted, for the likes, for the subscribes. I appreciate it so much. If you are new here, I'm Dr. Amanda. I'm a naturopathic doctor. I have this live Q&A every night, so you guys ask me your questions in the chat box and then I'll answer them for you. And I try to pick a different topic every night. If there is something you were interested in me talking about, let me know. Last night we talked about thyroid, we talked about diarrhea as well, previous nights. So yeah, just feel free to ask any questions, even if it's not related to the topic. Okay, NyQuil, do you recommend it? So in terms of NyQuil, it can help with managing cough symptoms. It can help with making you more drowsy, but it's not really going to be doing too much else other than that. So there are some herbs that I really like for if you are feeling sick. There's echinacea and there's golden seal. Those are two pretty good strong herbs that can help with supporting the immune system. If you're having a cough, they can be beneficial for that as well. Elderberry is another really good herb. So generally I like to say, okay, if you're able to get those herbs and stuff, would be a bit better because they are gonna support the immune system too. Whereas usually things in like your typical medications are just gonna get rid of the symptoms, but it's not really doing anything for your immune system. So yeah, I hope that answered your question there. I can't really say if I'd recommend you to take it or not. As I mentioned, it's not medical advice here, but what I would say if I was sick, I would go more towards elderberry, echinacea, and golden seal, and then even having bone broth and chicken broth and all those good nutrients there as well. Okay, guys, thank you for the questions. If you are new here and you're just joining us, I'm going to be signing off soon, so be sure to subscribe and turn on your notifications. I do this live health Q&A every night, so if you had a question tonight that I didn't answer, or maybe if you have a question next time, just feel free to hop on, ask me your health question, and I'll answer it for you. Okay, so I'll just kind of quickly comment about licorice root and marshmallow root. So licorice root and marshmallow root, both of those you can make as a tea. There's a tea by Traditional Medicinals called Throat Coat and has both of those in there. Both are really good soothing herbs for the digestive tract. You could also get them in supplement form, tincture form, whatever works best for you. Okay, so I'm going to be signing off tonight, guys. Thank you so much for the questions and for the likes and subscribes. I will see you all tomorrow night, and be sure to join me tomorrow to ask any health questions that you might have. Bye for now.